Dr. Adriana, what is abundance? Like, how do people actually understand the true meaning of abundance, Dr. Adriana?
So first of all, thank you, Jen. I'm honored to be here. Just in case I need to say it and it comes from my heart. Jen is one of my very successful graduates who I'm sure you know her story, not about bouncing back in life, in a life of success, in the face of terrible adversity life has presented her with. However, but serves as an example to all of us because we all learn from each other. And to pick it up from the message you heard before, it's the idea of scarcity thinking. So abundance, yes, I have a particular take on the word abundance, but since I'm connecting with what we all heard before, which is an extremely good message, it's the scarcity thinking where it's never enough. And we start with water and then we go to everything else you want, and we end up with not enough love, not enough creativity, not enough capability, not enough power, not enough. And we start believing that ourselves are not enough eventually. And that's what I call scarcity thinking. Now, if you ask me about the definition, my definition of abundance, could be money, yes, could be love, yes, could be family, yes, could be corporate ladder, yes, could be skills, yes, all of the above. But what's that actually? And it's like we talk to each other, and we haven't, by the way, before starting to in this segment today. But the case for abundance has to be made inside oneself. You see, several years ago, I wrote a book called Values and the Evolution of Consciousness, because this connects directly with abundance. Abundance doesn't come from outside. It never does. Abundance comes from within. The question is, how do we get there? How do we change our mindset? How do we change our emotions? How do we move past what life throws at us? And this is the key element. And all those examples that I just gave you a moment ago, they are true. They are abundance. You can talk about abundance in all different ways, but it starts inside you. And you say, okay, so I am going to think abundance from now on. I'm going to think possibility from now on. But you see, there are two parts to you. It's your conscious mind, reason, logic, capability to withstand, to control, to discipline yourself, to have resilience and all that. Then there is the unconscious mind of you, which is the soft part, which is the emotional part. And the problem that is solvable, by the way, because that's what I do, and Jennifer knows very well this, is the fact that we can change that. We all have experienced hardship in our past. Listening to you ladies speaking before, the stories that you told are unbelievable and all serves as examples. And yet, how do we let go of that? Let go of our memories of hardship without letting go of our learnings, of our resilience, of our inner power, what brought us today. Because you ladies are totally accomplished, and I admire you totally. So there you have it.
I think in NLP, you always talk about prime concerns, and you talk about, what is it that people can't have, of all the things they want to have in life, but they're not stopping what is stopping them from having what they want. So can you unpack that for us?
So in terms of prime concerns, this is just another, jargon. NLP is full of jargon. But in terms of prime concern, this is simply a deep need, unfulfilled need that started probably and most likely very early in life, that is so deeply repressed and pushed down into the unconscious that many people try to cover it up by all sorts of behaviors, even by becoming workaholics. Workaholics and keeping themselves busy, so they don't have to face that. Actually, it's repressed so deeply that sometimes it's even difficult to find it unless you work with a skilled person. But I'm gonna continue a little bit what I wanted to say, because everything we discuss here is extremely valuable, but you know I am a very big picture person and I always look at patterns. So I would like to propose a question for everybody in the audience. And because everything we discuss here, everything that all these wonderful lady speakers have brought before you as a message leads to, in my opinion, to one thing, speaking of prime concerns, right? And I'm going to ask you a question, a very simple question. You don't have to answer out loud. Just contemplate it for a second. And then we're going to go from there. It's just, I'm going to take maybe 30 seconds of your time with this. And the question is, who are you? And just give yourself an answer in your mind. Who are you? And if you gave yourself an answer, ask yourself the following question then. Who are you that's more than that? And probably you came up with a different word. And no matter what word you came up with, I want you to ask yourself, who are you that's more than that? Because you know that no matter what word you came up with, you're not just that. So you get the idea. I'm not going to put you in deep trance because this exercise is very, very trancy. But I want you to understand the difference, everybody. Yes, you accumulate skill. Yes, you accumulate linguistic skills. I'm totally for it. You accumulate ways of thinking, of focusing toward what you want. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely. No discussion. But when I asked you first, who are you? And you said to yourself your name, that's not who you are. And then you said to yourself your job. I'm a career speaker. I'm a CEO. I'm a broadcaster. I'm a whatever, right? I'm a doctor. I'm a nurse. That's your function. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. That's not who you are. That's what you do. That's your function. That's a difference between being and doing. And so consciousness and awareness, thus leading to abundance that I was talking about, is more than just skills. That's what I wanted. That's my message for tonight. It's more than, it's all of that. Everything is extremely valuable. Yes. And who you are deeply is more than that.
Wow.
Back to you.
Who are you? I was in trance really trying to think, who am I? More than who the person here. Frida, what are your thoughts on that?
Who are you? Okay, my thoughts on that. Actually, so most of people more recently would know me working in a radio station, and I did not like to be defined by one thing, right? So for the longest time prior to the working for BFM, I used to work in IBM. And when I was working in IBM, I had a part-time job reading the news, and I was just like, I don't want to be defined by my job. Right. I've just been very like this, So when I was in radio, then I started writing books, right? I just don't want, I didn't want to, I was like, I'm Frida Liu.
While power is a given asset to each individual, what is it that makes us forget this? And then we fall into the trap of being powerless.
Sure. It's actually very simple. We grow up believing that. See, when we grow up, when we're little, and I'm looking down here and I'm pointing, it's just about, maybe half a meter tall or maybe less, and we just learn how to walk. And we have, the Pampers on our butts, and we learn to walk around the room. We don't feel bad about ourselves. We don't feel powerless. We don't feel that we don't have confidence. Yeah, no, we don't. We just explore life with curiosity, and everything's possible for us. It's just a process of discovery, of learning, of excitement. And then we start hearing people around us. And, up to about age 7, we don't have a critical faculty, right? So we absorb like a sponge, everything that's our environment. And the most important thing, we absorb uncritically, because we're little unconscious minds roaming around. And our parents, out of good intentions, I'm not saying that we're had bad intentions, our friends, our extended families, and then we go to school, and we hear everybody else's belief, who heard their beliefs from everybody else in their past, their parents and their parents' parents. And let's face it, not all these beliefs are empowering. And we begin to learn that we're little, we are unworthy, we don't deserve, we'll never make it, we're second-class citizens no matter what we do, etc., etc., etc. And we start believing that. It's simple. It's actually not very complicated. The power is given inside each human being, but we forget it because we start believing that we're not. We start believing that power means force, brute force, that power means power over other people. And that's not what real power is. I don't have to give you examples. Most of the country is Buddhist, most of the country, and you believe in this force that is God. I don't have to teach you anything about that, but I know quite a bit about the ancient teachings of the old Hawaii. And I can tell you my PhD is in esoteric studies. And this is a belief that happens all over the world. We do have the power, but we have forgotten it. And we are kind of caught into, to continue a little bit of Frida's statement from before. We are caught in we form this thinking box inside our heads. We form it since we're very young. And then we start operating inside all these thinking boxes. We all have our own thinking boxes. I have mine, you have yours. Yeah. The question is, how do we change not only the things inside the box, but how do we get out of that box? How do we fundamentally change those beliefs that don't serve us? Those beliefs that make us think and feel like we're powerless. Our values that's been created in this way, our negative emotions that we have accumulated in our bodies for all this time. Every time we felt that like we have no power, every single time we experience negative emotions, and they are stored in our bodies. They are stored in every cell, because memories are stored holographically in the body. And then we begin to fight against that. And that's why many people have problems and difficulties. And then it's even worse. Then it becomes this general mindset. It becomes like a general mindset in society. And we are now here at this time in 2024. The things are changing around the world, ladies. If you didn't notice, I don't think I have to bring it to your attention, but things are changing. And you and Jennifer and all the beautiful ladies and Frida and everybody else at this conference, you're an example of that change. So I want, again, not to focus on what brought us here. Yes, we want to understand. But the most important thing is, what do we do now? How do we change now? How do we be part of this wave that creates this massive, massive empowerment wave on the planet? And that's what we need to focus on. And you know what? Guess what? When you focus on that, the issue of abundance is apparent.
Dr. Adriana, your thoughts on what Freda mentioned about, live, you must have goals. I mean, maybe you could enlighten us in your perspective of how do we have goals and how do we go about that? I mean, goals are goals. We all know they're goals, but what matters?
As you know, Jennifer, because you have learned timeline therapy, that there is a process in timeline therapy that talks exactly about this. But even without that, if you don't have goals, where are you going? So here is the thing. So you don't have goals. You say, I'm going with the flow. I'm just being peace and love, and I'm just going with the flow of life, right? Are you going anywhere? The answer is no. You're just floating. You have no direction, no purpose, no control. I'm not saying something new. These are things that are known forever. But here is the thing. The moment you set your goals, and Frida, you will absolutely agree with me on this one. The moment you set your goal, in that moment you set your obstacles. The moment you set a goal, like we do it in the future timeline, right? We do all the process, we do the certainty factor, we let go of doubts, we do all that stuff. Good. This is the technique. It's very valuable. And what's not apparent is the moment you set goals, risk management, everything you mentioned, I'm fully with you 100%. And you need to understand, don't be afraid of obstacles. Everybody. As human beings, we seem to be getting hurt than achieving achieving something. And you need to understand, if you don't have any goals, you don't have any obstacles. But what kind of a life is that? See, to me, the life that's the worst kind of life I can imagine. That's to me, okay? I'm just sharing. The worst kind of life I can imagine is a life where, really old age. Nowadays, with, the technologies, life enhancements, let's say we get to 130, okay? So here I am, 130, I'm looking back at my life. And if at that time I will say to myself, if I'd only ... and then I have regrets, that's not good. That's the worst thing I can imagine. Better, have goals, work for them. It's not the goals, achievements that make the difference. It's the growth that you have. All the way there's the path. And before you know it, your consciousness, I like to talk about consciousness, right? So your consciousness grows and becomes more and more and more complex. But that's the whole journey. We think it's about this goal and the other goal, and you must have goals. And yet it's more than that. The achievement of your goals in your personal relationships, in your finances, in your family, in your health and fitness, everywhere, right? You must have goals. And those goals, I just wanted to this is my TKO from this little, segment here, is that it does far more than just the achievement for you, because in the process, you grow. In the process, your consciousness becomes, as again, I'm repeating these words because they're meaningful, becomes more complex. It's not the IQ. I'm not talking about IQ. I'm talking about consciousness becoming more and more and more and more complex. And you as an individual really, achieve the best that you're meant to be. And to me, that's one of the purposes in life. So there you have it.
Wonderful, right? I mean, wonderful. Thanks, Frida, for that sharing. So pick the few goals that you want where you can just level it up, tune up the volume, make it, make it sound better, make it really, for you to feel like, yes, this is it. Pick 2-3 goals and say, that's it. I'm going to focus on this 2-3 goals for the next 6 months and focus on being abundant and how I can do more, I think that brilliantly said. Dr. Adriana, what are the strategies and what are the tips that you can offer to these ladies and, for true empowerment?
Have you heard of the expression turtle alone? The turtle slowly but makes it there. It's easy when life's easy. It's easy when, everything's under control. But in those very moments when, life throws at you a lot of challenges, turtle alone. Do not ever stop. Do not ever go back to scarcity. Just that inner core knowledge that abundance is within. If you start from that, despite everything else that might be in there as the limitations, limiting beliefs or decisions or negative emotions and so on and so forth, just that core belief will assist you to find always the way. So don't ever stop. Keep turtling along, just keep moving, no matter what. The power is within you. You heard this. It's not a new thing. It's just for you to experience it.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Jennifer, thank you so much again for inviting me. It's been an absolute pleasure to have this communication with you. You're all my admiration.
Thank you.